Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 47 of the Digital Quill podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. Today's episode is another one in a long series of things that I've been doing this week called niche subjects that I'm trying to do because niche subjects. Today's niche subject, I can't speak. I can't word. That's fine, right? Today's niche subject is media and movies. Not only am I going to talk today about my top 10 favorites, or like top 5 to 10, maybe more favorites when it comes to movies and shows, but that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about today, is my top 10, I am gassy, my top 10 movies and shows. Or at least like 5, 10, I don't know. We're just going to talk about movies and shows today and like various formats and film and like my experience with film and shows and why any of this today matters to me at all and why we're talking about it as a niche. So hello. Hello there. Hi. I am me, she is she, this is we. This is the Digital Quill podcast 47th episode with your host Mars Wilson. I know I probably said that already, but I'm kind of excited to be here today. Because we are going to talk about movies and shows and my favorites and hopefully your favorites too. And yes, this is totally engagement bait, 100% the next few questions I'm about to ask you. But comment, please comment your favorite movie, your favorite show, what you've seen in the past, what you want to see, your to-be watched list, your not to-be watched list, the things you'll never watch. Just comment below. You don't even have to provide context. Comment below your favorite show or movie, or a show or movie, or even better yet, if in today's episode you hear a movie or a show name that I say out loud while talking to you or at you or with you today, comment, leave an emoji if you've heard a movie or show. Like, this is engagement bait, please just comment, or like works if you've heard a movie or show that is in here. Engagement bait, please just engage, take the bait and engage. It's easy bait, you just gotta comment or like. Sorry, I'm not trying to beg for social media attention, but it will help my numbers, and it will maybe help you in the future, the long run. Yes. So let's just dive into it. Up first in movies and shows I want to talk about today is one of my favorites. All right, it is a horror musical. I hope I grabbed your attention. If I didn't, we're going to go over here and go here. Can you see it? Can't see all of it, can ya? Don't Go in the Woods. Right here. This 2010 horror musical. Do not pay attention to this. Apparently, you can watch it on Tubi for free. Let's find out. You can. Young band members seclude themselves to focus on writing songs that will score them a big break, but find themselves lost in a hellish nightmare. Do any of these names sound familiar to you? Vincent D'Onofrio as the director better. Alright. Don't Go in the Woods is a 2010 American horror musical written and directed by Vincent D'Onofrio. The film was first shown in 2010 at single locations in the United States. It was released on video on demand on December 26, 2011, and on general theatrical release in January 2012. Now, initial release was April 16th, 2010. The director, Vincent D'Onofrio. Yep, that's right. That gentleman. Right there, everybody. Vincent D'Onofrio. The very lad who plays Mr. Fisk in Daredevil. Who's in Full Metal Jacket. Who's in The Magnificent Seven. Law and Order Criminal Intent. The Cell. Jurassic World 2015. Vincent D'Onofrio wrote and directed my favorite movie. And that actually makes the sting of not going to this Comic-Con this year in Arizona that much more stingy, because I was going to try to meet him and get him to sign a copy of Don't Go in the Woods for me. Because I cannot tell you how incredible, how much I loved Don't Go in the Woods. Growing up from ages 7 to, I want to say 14, 15, maybe even 20. I think I was about 20 when I stopped trying to seek out horror movies so much. 20, almost 7 now for context. It makes the sting that much more worse to know that he not only directed Don't Go in the Woods, but he wrote it too. And to know that it only got 13% Rotten Tomatoes, 29% Metacritic, and a 2.7 out of 10 IMDb rating is absolute fucking blasphemy. Excuse my French. Actually, you know what? Don't even excuse my French. Because it is absolute fucking malarkey. Blasphemy. It's dumb. The fact that this movie is actually one of the better horror movies out there, compared to some of the higher quality crap that I've seen, and you have a Vincent D'Onofrio very own written and directed movie. We didn't even get a soundtrack, guys. You know how badly I want cover songs to this movie? So badly. I wish I was more of a musician. I'd be strumming a guitar right now instead of podcasting. But no, I'm a writer. I can't sing or dance or play music like a musician can. Don't Go in the Woods is definitely cemented as my favorite movie of all time. Like, the number one spot. And what's funny is I don't really do in absolutes like that. I really don't. I hate dealing in absolutes because things change all the time. But I can do an absolute in this because it reaffirms and reiterates to me why I love movies and shows so fucking much. My senior year of high school, I was in film study. I loved film study. That was one of my favorite classes. Mr. Bush, if you're from North Canyon High School, you might recognize the name. Anyway, great class. It was like my first class senior year. And that is where I saw a silent movie with Mel Brooks, Gone with the Wind, which, by the way, took like 4 or 5 days to watch because it's a 3-hour-long movie. Good movie. Definitely makes it in my list of movies that I like watching or have liked watching and have learned or gained something from in some way or another. Silent movie, if you don't know this one, and you claim to be any form of a film buff, one, you're lying. Because if you don't know this movie, you're not a film buff. No, I'm kidding. I can't really claim that. But it is a pretty momentous occasion of a movie. Typing is hard. Don't enjoy. Alright. A lot of you from the 70s might recognize this one. If you are a fan of Mel Brooks on any level, you might recognize this one. This movie also reaffirmed my various love and ideas for film. So check this out. In this, wait, one sec. Check this out. Silent movie by Mel Brooks. In this dialogue-free slapstick comedy, film director Mel Brooks travels to the ailing big picture studios to pitch his comeback film, the first feature-length silent movie in many years. Desperate for a hit, the studio chief gives Fun and his cronies, Eggs and Belle, the go-ahead, but only if they can get big celebrities to act in it. Excited, Fun begins an adventure across the country in his effort to secure superstars for his film. Initial release date, June 16th, 1976. Initial runtime, 1 hour and 27 with a $4 million budget. Yeah. Here are some video stills. And actually, Burt Reynolds. Holy crap, Burt Reynolds. I haven't heard that name in years. Dom DeLuise. Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch some of the movies from film study. Such an amusing movie. Yep, the iconic as heck shot. Jeez. I can kind of remember sitting in the back row of film study even now. Let's see. On here on this list thing, I have A Walk to Remember and My Sister's Keeper. So, if you guys don't know, A Walk to Remember is a 2002 film. And it is kind of a sad one. My Sister's Keeper is arguably just as sad. And that one's a 2009 film. I actually believe that might be a remake, but I'm not sure. So, Solo desktop. Here is A Walk to Remember. And here is My Sister's Keeper. A Walk to Remember is set in North Carolina, following the rite of passage of a jaded, aimless high school senior who falls in love with a guileless young woman he and his friends once scorned. The two develop a powerful and inspirational relationship in which they discover truths that take most people a lifetime to learn. It's a Nicholas Sparks story, of course. And My Sister's Keeper, conceived as a marrow donor for her gravely ill sister, Anna Fitzgerald has undergone countless surgeries and medical procedures in her short life. Though their older daughter's life has no doubt been prolonged, the unorthodox decision of Anna's parents has cracked the entire family's foundation. When Anna sues her parents for emancipation, it sets off a court case that threatens to destroy the family for good. It's a story by Jodi Picoult, who, by the way, I have read books by. I don't think I ever actually read that book. Let's see. Wow. There's a lot of stories I haven't read by Picoult. The Pact. She was writing when I was born. Jeez. You know, that might actually be why I know about her as an author. That makes sense. Okay. We've learned some new things today in real time together. So I like both movies for a lot of the same reason. Just like I like A Fault in Our Stars, which I have not watched since I rewatched it 3 times in the same year, or same 2-year period. Years after it came out. My Sister's Keeper is definitely a controversial topic, and it's actually one of the reasons or stories that I've heard in real life, which is technically another form of child abuse. Kind of, sorta. I mean, conceiving another child, specifically as a bone marrow donor is cruel. It kind of takes away from their autonomy. So that's interesting. A Walk to Remember. It's hard to kind of remember the plot, and I don't want to give away the details, even though this is a movie that came out 20 years ago at this point. If you need to cry, if you feel like you have some unresolved grief and you need some type of media, song, show, whatever, to push you over the edge, A Walk to Remember and My Sister's Keeper are good choices. Are really good choices for that. This one, speaking of controversial, the Purge series. Not the TV show series, which is kind of different than the movie series, but the Purge. I believe there's Purge, or the Purge election year, the first Purge, and there's like 2 others, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull them up for us. The Purge movies in order. There we are. It's 5 movies, and I'm gonna share my screen so you can see. Okay. There's the Purge Anarchy, the Purge Election Year, the First Purge, and the Forever Purge. Is the Purge based on a true story? No, and none of us should want that. The Purge is an American anthology media franchise centered on a series of dystopian action horror films distributed by Universal Pictures and produced by Blumhouse Productions. In an America ravaged by crime and overcrowded prisons, the government sanctions an annual 12-hour period during which all crime activity, including murder, is legal. James Sandon, Ethan Hawke, and his family face the ultimate test when an intruder drags the vicious outside world into their home. James, Mary, Lena Headey, and their 2 children struggle to survive the night while trying not to turn into monsters like the ones they are striving to avoid. I know this is a controversial movie in general to have as a top favorite of any kind, but I can't remember which movie it was exactly. Let's see, trying to find that one movie where they talk about why the Purge kind of exists. It might be this one. It might be the 3rd one. Election year. I feel like it is this one because that actress looks very familiar as far as like the scenes I'm thinking in my head. Okay. Back to video. So, what I'm thinking of as far as like the Purge goes, and this is controversial as heck, but as someone, I mean, we're 47 episodes into this podcast, so you can probably gather by now that I like psychology and sociology, really any of the ologies having to study the human condition, the human brain, society as a whole, spirituality, or just anything. I like questioning things, alright? I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I'm sorry about that, but I'm sorry about that. And the Purge provides an interesting social experiment that I don't really want to see play out, because I feel like in some ways I already kind of do. 2020 was interesting. A few years ago it was interesting. In one of the movies, I think it was Election Year, one of the doctors or scientists or elected officials or whatever was talking about why they created the Purge as an experiment of sorts to kind of lessen crime. There's like an adage or a saying that goes where if you make something illegal, people are 10 times more likely to want to do it because you are effectively telling somebody, no, you can't do that. Well, rebelliousness is going to be like, well, why can't I? And they're going to want to do it anyway. If you don't know, I'm kind of referencing how the American government, as well as other governments, but mostly the American government, has legalized and delegalized, legalized and delegalized various recreational and medical uses of different substances throughout history. I'm not just talking about marijuana or cannabis. I'm talking about other things. If you know, you know. And the scientist lady said that statistics seem to report that by making crime legal, it lessens crime throughout the rest of the year or whatever, something like that, to that effect. And I'm kind of like, interesting. Very interesting. Do I have a purge list in a fantastical world? Yes and no. Personally, and it's taken me a lot of time in therapy to come to this weird conclusion, but personally, once upon a time, I would have gone after people like my biological father or whatever to enact the nice little role, right? Pedophiles. But now, I don't know how much I want to just go out and willy-nilly murdering things and people, because I feel like while I'll murder bad person good, maybe, subjectively. Is murder on any level or violence on any level good? That's a question I've been asking myself the last year or two. Is murder or violence on any level good? I don't think the answer is yes. But also, I don't know. I'm not an all-knowing, all-seeing person. Because there's self-defense, and there's nuance, and perspective, and probability, and statistic, and it's just, you can't one size fits that answer. Is violence or murder a good idea? And that's like an interesting thing to me, like that movie poses as far as questions go. Like, do we need to have, as a society, an area or a way of which we need to blow off steam? I mean, is that something we need? Is that something that would lower crime rate to the point where we wouldn't have crime at all except for, say, this specific period? I don't know. But they are an entertaining concept of movies to watch, especially because, one, there's the dystopian element. Two, there's the societal question element of if this existed, what would we do? Who would we be as people? And yada, yada, yada. I like that series. I do. It's such a controversial and weird idea, but I don't know. In a purge world, what would you do? That's a genuine question, by the way. What would you do if you lived in the purge? Me? My new answer after kind of getting rid of that list idea is I would steal a bunch of stuff from a department store. Gaming consoles. Games. Lots of books. So many books. I would probably break into places just for shits and giggles. And that would probably be the current extent of it. At one point, I had imagined myself taking the Mad Max way out and just going full The Purge anarchy and going after criminally pedophilic people. But again, is murder bad? Probably. That is a question I need to debate myself later on. Moving on to other possible movies and stuff I like. On my list, I have this one, Kubo and the Two Strings, a 2016 film. which, let me pull this up really quickly. I did not have my material ready. I mean, I had some of my material ready. Alright, solo desktop. Here is Kubo and the Two Strings. A nice little animation movie that is now back on Netflix, if I remember correctly. Young Kubo's peaceful existence comes crashing down when he accidentally summons a vengeful spirit from the past. Now on the run, Kubo joins forces with Monkey and Beetle to unlock a secret legacy. Armed with a magical instrument, Kubo must battle the Moon King and other gods and monsters to save his family and solve the mystery of his fallen father, the greatest samurai warrior the world has ever known. It is a 2016 movie released in August 2016. It is rated PG. And here are some movie clips of just some interesting things in general. Open link in new tab. Okay. And there's a cat in my room. Kubo and the Two Strings. It is such a beautiful movie. Monkey, Kubo, Beetle. Let's see. If you must blink, do it now. That's like, I think, the opening line of the movie. If you must blink, do it now. For the story I'm about to tell you. It's like such a heartwarming, and you have to see this movie for yourself. You really have to see. Is that what I think it is? Did I just see? I did. An art book. Yes. An art book for Kubo and the Two Strings. That is so cool. Holy crap. Life complete. So creepy. Oh, hey, look. My new wallpaper. For my phone. Yep. Kubo and the Two Strings. Also, un momento, por favor. Sorry about that. I'm back. Not that you will notice much of a difference. Where was I? Something about Kubo and the Two Strings and how you should really watch that movie and how I have a new wallpaper coming up now. Neat. On to the shows. So on here I have top 5, Avatar: The Last Airbender, My Little Pony, Heartland, BoJack Horseman, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, King of the Hill. There are other shows I like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sex Sent Me to the ER, The Paranormal, or not The Paranormal, The Haunting, or The Haunted and a Haunting, or The Haunting and a Haunted, I don't remember, Anthony Call is the host of one, The Orville, Star Trek The Next Generation, let's see, Hilda, Zoe 101, Regular Show, Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Robot Chicken, The Magic School Bus, the original, Caillou, Medium, that's an interesting one. I think it's Medium, maybe. The Good Witch, I think, is a movie or a series, I don't remember. Hannah Montana, obviously, Drake and Josh, H2O, Just Add Water. There's a lot of shows I like, but I chose these 6 for a reason. So I'm going to start with Avatar: The Last Airbender because Avatar. And we're getting Magic the Gathering cards later this year in November. I can't wait. Avatar: The Last Airbender is actually one of the shows I've been watching since it came out, and it is really hard to believe that it is a 2009 show. I'm pretty sure it's a 2009 show. Let me verify that for us. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Exit. exit, exit, exit. I'll zoom in on the description part. 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Gee, I wonder why. Because it's that good. Oh, it's not a 2009 show. It's a it's a before that show. Wow. Okay. Yep, sure. The world is divided into 4 nations: the Water Tribe, the Earth Kingdom, the Fire Nation, and the Air Nomads, each represented by a natural element for which the nation is named. Benders have the ability to control and manipulate the element from their nation. Only the Avatar is master of all 4 elements. The ruthless Fire Nation wants to conquer the world, but the only Bender who has enough power, the Avatar, has disappeared. Until now. His tribe soon discovers that Aang is the long-lost Avatar. Now Katara and Sokka must safeguard Aang on his journey to master all 4 elements and save the world from the Fire Nation. The first episode date was February 21st, 2005. Wow. That means for 20 years, this has been a beloved franchise, because Legend of Korra is also one that, granted, came out much later. April 14th, 2012. Did it end in 2009 then? Because it doesn't say. That's nice. Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's actually really good. We don't talk about the live action movie. And even though technically M. Night Shyamalan does correct when he pronounces the name as Ong instead of Aang because yin and yang, it wasn't how the creators named him. So, anyway, Avatar: The Last Airbender, a momentous show. I could actually probably have an entire episode with the other people about just this show alone, because there are lessons in it, like there are in My Little Pony. There are morals and values that the reason it feels like a timeless show, like rewatching it even today, like the morals and values in it are timeless. Don't be an evil piece of shit. Simple as that. Don't be Ozai. Don't be a Fire Lord. Be more like Zuko, open to change, and getting rid of generational curses and trauma. My Little Pony, I already talked about that in an episode, and if I had a Lexion or something, I would have a video clip right here of the My Little Pony episode and why that one's momentous and matters. Heartland. You probably have no idea what Heartland is. That's probably one that's out of your element. Here. We're gonna show you. We're gonna show you all about Heartland. All about it. Indeed. All about Heartland. All about it. Come get your Heartland. Right here. Heartland payment systems. That's freaking hilarious. So here is the movie poster for Heartland, or the show poster rather, for Heartland. That's Amy Fleming with a horse, played by Amber Marshall. A multi-generational saga set in Alberta, Canada, and centered on a family getting through life together in both happy and trying times. Here is one of the very many posters. It started in 2007, and it is still ongoing. Heartland typically refers to the Canadian family drama television series about the Fleming family and their horse ranch in Alberta, Canada. The show, which has been running since 2007, focuses on their lives, relationships, and the challenges of running the ranch, particularly Amy's work with horses. It's also the name of the ranch itself. This sprawling family saga takes place where an unfortunate tragedy has glued a family together to pull them through life's thick and thin moments. Follow young Amy Fleming as she slowly discovers she possesses her now deceased mother's ability to aid injured horses, as well as maintaining good relationships with those who are trying to get by one day at a time. The family pursues forgotten dreams and challenges as their strength is tested against personal struggles. Here is some of the cast. We have not seen Georgie in a long freaking time. And Heartland from Canada, I have a question for you. Where is Georgie? Where is our jumper that we haven't seen in like 2 or 3 seasons? There's Amber Marshall as Amy Fleming, Graham Wardle, I won't give spoilers, Michelle Morgan as Lou or Louise Fleming. There are 18 seasons. There's going to be a 19th season. Maybe even 20th. Who knows? But it is ongoing, and it will probably be going on for the rest of time. I mean, think of it this way. For at least when it comes to Heartland, I didn't really have a consistent family growing up. That's just a common denominator, right? No consistent childhood, no consistent family, no consistent love in my life. Except for my own and my friends. Heartland is my comfort show that isn't a cartoon. Heartland is my, oh yeah, that's what families kind of look like. They're dysfunctional sometimes, but sometimes they're functional. Not mine. Not mine. There's a lot I could say about Heartland. As a matter of fact, one day we might have to do a watch through, you know? Maybe. I haven't rewatched the first season in so long, and being on the new season, it's kind of hard to, like go back in time and rewatch it that way. But I might as well. Might as well introduce people. I don't know, actually. Comment below how you would want to see a show that's been out since 2007. Would you want to watch it from the beginning on your own time? Watch it together as like a digital Quill family? See episodes that could help, or not help, but like that would be good? Just, I guess, let me know. Let me know in the comments below how you would want to be introduced to the show. Next up on my list is Mystery Incorporated. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, as a matter of fact. And I know this one's a controversial one in the Scooby Kingdom. Well, it's not that controversial, considering it is Scooby-Doo. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of this one, because it's not like the 1970s Scooby-Doo or the 2000s Scooby-Doo. But it's a good Scooby-Doo for modern Scooby-Doo. I mean, guys, I know we don't really want to be listening to the reviews, but 93% of critics who absolutely hate everything that comes across them. This incarnation of the popular cartoon series finds Scooby and the gang living in Crystal Cove, a small town with a long history of ghost sightings, monster tales, and other mysteries ripe for the sleuths to solve once and for all. But the long-standing Crystal Cove residents, who bank on the town's reputation to attract tourists, are prepared to do what it takes to protect their turf. And that's an interesting one. This one aired in 2010. It is 52 episodes long. I believe it is 2 seasons. Let me see. Yes, it is 2 seasons. Here are some show clips. I know the art probably isn't everyone's favorite. Open image in new tab. I know the art probably isn't everyone's favorite. It's kind of weird. It's kind of dark. It's not the Scooby-Doo that everyone's used to, okay? I mean, these kids almost die. like many, many times. All right. They almost actually die. Like, they're put in some pretty perilous life or death situations. It's glorious. I have seen every single Scooby-Doo. Every single one. Minus the Muppets one. I will not watch the Muppets one as long as I shall live. That is just not something I'll do. You guys can have it, by all means. If you like the Muppets or puppets on any level, go for it. I am taking the Markiplier route on I don't like mannequins. Well, I mean, I like mannequins-ish. I don't like puppets. Nope. Not a puppet fan. Nope. But I've seen every single Scooby-Doo. Every single one. All the movies, all the shows, all the shorts, all the clips. All of it. I am a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I am as much of a Scooby-Doo fan as I am a My Little Pony fan, alright? I have the socks. I had the pants. I have the shirts. I have the face mask. All I need is the undergarments for Scooby-Doo, and I'm set. Boxers. Underwear boxers, yes. And I know that people think of this one as a controversial Scooby-Doo one. Nowhere near as the Be Cool Scooby-Doo one, which, by the way, no. That one I've joined in on the controversy with. But, Mystery Incorporated, if you want like a dark ambient kind of like Scooby-Doo, watch this one for sure. It's a good Scooby-Doo. It's got a story to it that's ongoing. It isn't like a new episode every time. I mean, it is a new episode, like the story writing, the character development, the arcs, the canon, the non-canon, the stuff that they incorporate from prior Scooby-Doos. It's such a feast for the eyes. And if you are a fan of Scooby-Doo on any level and you haven't given this a chance, you're not actually a Scooby-Doo fan. Sorry, I don't make the rules, but that's pretty much what you're telling me, is that you're not a Scooby-Doo fan. Because Mystery Incorporated is a different universe of Mystery Inc. altogether. Right? And you'll kind of get what I mean when you watch that show. So go watch it. You'll probably thank me later. It's interesting for sure. It's definitely interesting. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about, because in less than a month, we have the very first episode coming back. And then I'll circle back to the other thing. King of the Hill. You know of it, you love it, you remember Hank, and you remember, God damn it, Bobby! And you remember Boomhauer and Lucky, and you remember Luann and Con and Min and Bill and Dale and everybody. I'm gonna end up blanking on names. I'm exhausted, sorry. And yep, we're getting a reboot, a 20 years later, where we see where Bobby Hill ended up. Does Hank still sell propane and propane accessories? I sell propane and propane accessories. Of course, that one's a great show. And I included it in this list of mine for a few reasons. One, because I didn't really know what to put on this list. And two, or when I was writing these notes earlier. And two, King of the Hill coming out next month. I mean, come on. Of course, I had to put it on. Talk about it, speak about it. Are you going to watch the first episode when it airs on Hulu in August? Are you? You better. And finally, a controversial show. I know I probably ruffled a few feathers when I mentioned it. Or I didn't. And I know the internet is like, if someone says this is their favorite show, that's a red flag. I agree. If you don't have context. And I'm going to give you context as to why BoJack Horseman is one of my favorite shows. You've seen it. You know about it. If you don't, it is a Netflix original. Starring a horse who was the star of Horsing Around, a 90s sitcom. And I know that the show has some bad reputations because some of the people in it, let's face it, just are not good people. Or I guess anamorphic animals. So here is the screen share. And here is BoJack Horseman. I've always kind of liked how the C in Jack is like a horseshoe. A humanoid horse, BoJack Horseman, lost in a sea of self-loathing and booze, decides it's time for a comeback. Once the star of a 90s sitcom in which he was the adoptive father of 3 orphan kids, 2 girls and a boy, the show was the hottest thing around, and suddenly was cancelled. Now 18 years later, BoJack wants to regain his dignity. With the aid of a human sidekick and a feline ex-girlfriend who is his agent, he sets out to make it happen. But Hollywood is vastly different from those days, and getting used to stuff like Twitter may take some time. This first animated series from Netflix, with plenty of references to sex, drugs, and alcohol, is not for the little ones. First episode date was August 2020, or August 22nd, 2014. Program creator is Raphael Bob Waxberg. And this is an interesting question. As others have said, there are parallels, but the creator Raphael Bob Waxberg has been clear that the BoJack isn't based on 1 or 2 different actors. Rather, he is a character who is based on the stereotypical washed-up Hollywood celebrity, an archetype which has been around probably for as long as there has been a Hollywood. So, with that being said, kind of talking about that, I noticed it had a 94% rating. Hollywood, right? BoJack Horseman is a dark and artistic homage to the human condition in a weird, brilliant, tragic, beautiful, and disgusting way. Here you have a drug-addicted, booze-addicted, sex-addicted, self-serving, I'm gonna say it, piece of fucking shit. And throughout the entire show, I've rewatched it a few times. Sometimes I get something different out of it. But throughout the entire show, you have this man, this horseman, this character who keeps making shitty decision after shitty decision after shitty fucking decision. Just one mistake after another, one failure after next. A lot of the choices and a lot of the mistakes and a lot of the failures are his doing, of course. But that's the message. That's it right fucking there. Pardon my French. About the human condition. About being human. About you and I right now listening and talking to this. It all comes down to choice. When you wake up in the morning, are you going to choose to smile at your neighbors, or are you going to scowl at them like they're the worst fucking thing on the planet? Are you going to drink that 6-pack, destroy your ability to think, create an early onset dementia or Alzheimer's, ruin your liver? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to drink some water and some ginger ale? Are you going to smoke 12 packs of cigarettes a day? Or learn to quit? Or even cut back? Are you going to... Yeah, I could go on. I could literally go on when it comes to choice. Because here in BoJack Horseman, you can see the pull, the drive a little bit in the character on how he wants to be a better version of himself. And on some level, he ends up being that. And I'm going to spoil the ending for you guys. But at the end of the show, I forget how many seasons it spans. I think like 3 or 4, maybe. At the end of BoJack Horseman, he finally gets to a point when he starts to realize that it was his fault. That all of the issues and the problems and the bad relationships and the lack of connection and every fucking thing, it was all on him. It was him choosing to drink It was him choosing to do drugs. It was him choosing not to call the ambulance over Sarah Lynn. At the end of the series, BoJack gives up all of that. He stops drinking. He stops doing drugs. He cleans up. He cleans up, and it is so beautiful. Because, yeah, back in his life in Hollywood, he done fucked up. All of his relationships, all of his connections, like, he's never gonna be an actor again. But he ends up becoming a professor in a college in a smaller town, somewhere back east. And to see this person who has gone through trauma, because growing up, BoJack Horseman had abusive fucking parents. His father was a joke of a father. His mother, could you even call her a mother? I mean, granted, she was kind of facing abuse herself. We learned that later on, but still. Generational trauma and curses and the human condition. If you watch BoJack Horseman, watch it with the eyes of learning about yourself and other people. Step into the shoes of the characters and the lives that they live and the choices that they make, and you will learn something about yourself. I know that show's controversial when someone says, "It's my favorite show." You should really ask the context on why someone says it's their favorite show. It's one of my favorite shows because from start to finish, it is the beautiful, disgusting, wonderful, tragic tale of the human condition in yet a fictional yet not format. There are a handful of jokes in there that you probably won't get because they are clearly meant for Hollywood. But the lessons that you might be able to glean from it, the show itself, about how to be a better person, whether or not just for yourself or the people around you, I think that's worth it. And I think that's absolutely invaluable. So how about it, folks? In episode 47 of the Digital Quill podcast with your host, Mars Wilson, did you learn anything? Were you inspired or motivated or entertained? Have you seen any of the shows or movies mentioned, or are you watching anything currently? I just finished The Bear. Currently watching the Magic School, Magic Meshel or something like that. Recently finished Dr. Stone. Let's see. Free Run Beyond Journey's End. Dragon Ball, anybody? Let's see. I'm trying to think. The Black Phone 2 is coming out. That's gonna be awesome. Thunderbolt. But yep, nope, that was my time today. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to episode 47 of the Digital Cult Podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. Thank you for letting me share my time with you. Thank you for giving me your time. I hope at the end of the day I taught, inspired, motivated, or entertained you. As always, humans of Earth, keep going. Do not stop. There is light at the end of the tunnel, I assure you. We'll find it together. Or we'll create it together. Either way, keep going, humans of Earth. I will see you next time for the next episode. Bye for now. Bye.